Well, it could be do or die for Bernie Sanders tonight as voters in 6 states head to the polls, including the battleground of Michigan, where 125 delegates are up for grabs. Sanders beat Hillary Clinton there in a surprise upset in 2016, you may remember. However, he faces tougher odds today as Joe Biden continues to ride his wave of what they call Joe-mentum for this, or from last Super Tuesday. Here's Sanders.
You know, people are asking themselves, well, like Bernie or like Joe, who can beat Trump? That's what Democrats, independents, some Republicans are thinking. And to my mind, Chris, this is really a no-brainer.
And Biden says the stakes are high in Michigan, not just today, but in the general election, too.
I'm kind of superstitious. I see all these polls, you know. I remember Hillary was up 23 points. I don't take anything for granted. And rest assured that you'll be seeing, though, if I get the nomination, and you're going to be seeing a lot of me in Flint and all across Michigan, because it's critically important.
Michigan Congresswoman Debbie Dingell is co-chair of the House Democratic Policy and Communications Committee. And of course, I mentioned Michigan, which is a key state in this sort of mini Super Tuesday. Congresswoman, what do you think between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, who will take your state?
Well, first of all, I happen to agree with Vice President Biden that I don't trust any polls. And 4 years ago, I felt the ground shifting, told people I thought Bernie was going to win on primary day, and everybody thought I was nuts, and I was right. Though, having been home this weekend, I think that the Senator Bernie will win my district. But I think the people... The Vice President came into Michigan yesterday. You could feel momentum. You could feel ground shifting. So I don't know that it's going to be by the numbers that you've seen in some of these polls, but I think it's Joe Biden's to lose, and he is likely to pull it off. But you'll see a competitive race in Michigan today and in November.
All right, let's talk about what Bernie Sanders is doing right now. He is defending his criticism of establishment Democrats. I'll get your reaction. Let's watch.
And you're calling the establishment what his voters call Democrats and African Americans. That's the state of play. But something happened on my
No. Hold it. That is not fair. I'm calling the establishment the 60.
Go ahead.
All right, because let me define what I mean by establishment. Don't do it for me.
Oh, okay.
What I mean by establishment is there are 60 billionaires who are supporting his campaign.
What is your reaction to that?
You know, somebody asked me if I had, if either camp had asked me to endorse them, and I told them I had 2 broken arms last week with people on both sides. You know, I'm focused on winning in November. I'm not focused at the shots that people are taking towards each other. I love both of these men. I've worked with both of these men on really critical issues to the people of my district, from the auto industry. Joe Biden was one of John Dingell's dearest friends, and they worked on so many issues together. But my passion is Medicare for all. I think every American's got a right to health care. So, you know, I've worked with both of them.
Do you think that's where most of the voters are in your state?
I think that a lot of the union workers are afraid of what that means, and I think after
they'll lose
this election,
their health care that they have now that they like.
Well, they're not going to lose their health care, but there's been more people talking about this that don't know all of the issues or understand it. When this election's over, we got to sit down and say, okay, we're competing in a global marketplace.
All right.
We're competing with other industrialized nations. They have it. Okay, that's enough on this subject.
And what I said was, just to finish, not that they would lose their health care only, but that they would lose the health care that they have now that they like. And we saw that in Nevada. It was a sticking point for Bernie Sanders there as well with unions. We'll move on. Joe Biden tries to increase his delegate lead now. A Washington Post headline is pointing out that Biden is now delivering shorter speeches, which means less time for gaffes. But just this morning, Joe Biden got heated with the voter over guns, telling the man he's, quote unquote, full of blank, and not to be such a horse's butt, using some saltier language.
Well, you know, we're all human. And we've seen the president does that a lot, and I think he had a human moment. I got to tell you, I was married to a man that was a former board member of the NRA and felt very strongly about the Second Amendment, and I didn't agree with him on a lot of these issues. I think that, look, I lived in a home where my father had a gun and almost killed my family, so I've seen the negative side and the good side. I think that the vice president respects the right of people to own guns, but he also knows that there are people that shouldn't have guns, and he's working to protect the rights of those that should. and keep guns out of the hands of those that shouldn't. And it was a human moment that you saw today.
Yeah. Congresswoman Dingell, if I haven't said it recently, my heart goes out to you with the loss of your husband. I think of him
Thanks.
often.
I miss him a lot. Right now, I miss him a whole lot. So
I know you
he'd
do.
have good Twitters today.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.